Yo,
How are you doing this week?
getting stuff done. Small things, small little tasks, must do's. I'm trying to get the small shit out of the way before I start my taxes. Just
Oh yeah.
yeah, I just want to be able to focus that down. But I got all these small things rattling around in my head that I got to do. So like returns and warranties and complaints, lawsuits. No, try
I
not to
guess
get.
your taxes would be kind of complicated with all the stuff you got. Like, if you've Airbnb and stuff, that
Yeah,
adds a layer
plus
to them. Yeah, I never thought about that.
plus I'm in Canada and everything in Canada is complicated needlessly. So
Yeah, I've been using just like a TurboTax thing in America here, and it's like a couple $100 usually to like file the taxes. Uh, and I
wow,
never
that's a
know it does it. It's like a fairly easy process, but I never have like the assurity that like I've gotten everything. I always feel like, how do I know if there is like some form that I've missed that declares some like account somewhere that would be like a fine if discovered, and like, but I'd never know, that uh
that's probably
like there's
good. That
some form.
best case scenario is that you, I mean, you'll miss it, and if they really care, they'll find it, and then still like they'll penalize you for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's if they don't find it, well, then you just don't know, and then you're golden. And it's
Yeah.
not deliberate. You're not trying to like hide from paying the taxes. Like I don't want to pay capital gains tax, so I'm going to try to avoid that if I can find a loophole.
Yeah.
In Canada, it doesn't really seem to have loopholes, so at least
The
none that
gains
I.
tax, it's pretty low, isn't it? Like 50% of the profit is
It's
taxed at whatever rate.
35%. So 50% is taxed at 35%. So
Yeah.
that's not low. Still a wealth killer. Better than 50% taxed on your income, or 45%, or 40 to 50%, depending on your tax bracket range.
Yeah, my
Still,
complicated thing, like, so I have what's considered like a foreign investment account because I have like a some stock in an account in Canada, and you have to like declare that as like a foreign investment account on your American taxes. And whenever I like tell TurboTax like I have a foreign account, it tells me like you have to file like a paper form that you like that can't be filed electronically, and like you have to mail it in with your taxes, like, because it's a special form that like not many people need to file. And then I answer a few more questions, and then it's like, oh wait, never mind, you don't have to file, like you can just do this other form instead that like declares the account electronically. And so then I always think like, is that right? Or like, I'm trying to just basically like America wants to know about this account, I'm telling about the account like in any way that I can. But I always feel like if I don't declare it in the official way, they're going to think like, you know like they'll learn of it, and it won't be like officially declared even though I declared it in like some other way. And it's always like, it just feels like a weird thing where I never know if I've like told them about it or not, even though it's like it doesn't mean anything, if it exists or not. I never like, I don't even like sell anything in the account, so like there is no change to the value. So it's just like money, like stocks in an account that do nothing. So it's not even like there's any taxable income that it's generating at the moment, unless I
I wouldn't
sold
even,
something.
yeah, I wouldn't even put that on because you're
It's a
not
high fine
actually.
though, I think. So when I had my taxes done by like an accountant one year, they said if they find like a foreign account that you didn't declare, it's like a flat like $10,000 fine. And so once once someone told me that, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna make sure I declare this, but like now I'm always afraid like how much do I have to declare this before I'm like good, and they can't just come back and hit me with like a 10K fine or something. But I guess I'll just worry about that forever because I'll never know.
Or not. I
It would be
mean,
nice if there was if you could like you could pay like maybe $100, and the government would like audit you before the deadline, and then they would just tell you what they found, and then you could just like pay everything properly, like a voluntary audit so that you can avoid the fines or whatever. They always audit like after the deadline.
Yeah, you're making too much sense. But
Yeah.
so not have them complete it and do it for you, but draft it for you based off of all of their inputs. Now, CRA has something like that
Yeah.
in Canada where like they track your stuff and they can auto input it,
Oh
but
yeah.
like I've tried it and then there's glitches, there's errors. I would like for them to draft my complete and full return. This is all the income that they're tracking that has been reported by companies. And then I can go in and do my deductions from that point forward and see what I
Yeah.
qualify for. That'd be
Yeah,
ideal,
that'd be good.
but
Yeah, because then there's no way like if there's a lack of effort on our part, it would just mean we get like less of a return, and not that we like commit some crime that they then like fine us for.
yeah, I
Yeah, it's a
don't
weird,
I
yeah,
don't like
weird situation.
taxes to begin with. I don't like the government. I don't like how their noses and everything. And this is what's been setting me off this last 2 weeks since we chatted. I want to withdraw $3,600, $3,500 from my account at the bank, and I got
Yeah,
questioned like I was some sort of criminal.
yeah,
They
that's
wanted to
weird.
know what
That's
the
funny.
money
Yeah,
was. They wanted to know
that's
what the
funny.
money was for, and it's like it's none of their business. And that's what I told them. It's like it's not your business where I spend my money that I have you holding on to. Like it's not your business. And just
Yeah,
because you
maybe
have a
because if
25,
it's yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
like I don't care if you have a $2,500 daily withdrawal limit.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't care. Like you create your own policies for whatever subjective reasons that you have, but I want my money and I need it and don't fucking hold it on me. So they grilled me as to why I wanted it. Like I just like, fuck you guys. And then now I'm dealing with Simple, which now I have to say don't use because they're incompetent. Their people are incompetent. And with the promotion for the iPhone, I brought over enough money for their iPhone 15 Pro, and they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, you didn't transfer enough." I'm like, "Nope, I absolutely did. I know exactly how much I transferred over, and I kept over, and it's over the amount." They're like, "Nope, you're at one. You're 30,000 under." I'm like, "I am not. Show me the transactions." I'm like, "Yeah, you're missing a $30,000 deposit." So like,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is what it is. Here's the screenshot. It's within the timeline." And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll get back to you." Months go by. They're like, "Sorry, you're fucked. We're just giving you the cheaper." Yeah, no, seriously. And then
That's so weird.
now,
It's so funny that like there's no like they just blatantly do like illegal stuff, like make false promises. Like there's no
what?
consequence for that.
Yeah, you bring your money over, and then you invest it and you tie it up. So like, I use that money to buy crypto through their platform, and now they have my crypto hostage. I can't move it. So
Oh
their
yeah.
limit is 25,000 a week. And I said, "Hey, I want to take advantage of the market like validity or how volatile it is. Is
Yeah.
validity? I don't know." And they're
Yeah, I think so.
like, and I was like, "I need to move it to another platform to do swaps so I don't incur capital gains. Because if I sell and then if I sell, I get capital gain tax. Like it's just
Yeah.
how it works. I don't want to sell and rebuy because it's going to kill my wealth. I want to just swap, which means it's still crypto, which means it's still tied up, which means it's still an asset. I don't want cash or fiat, whatever it's called. I want to keep it crypto." And they're like, "Well, okay, we'll look into it." They took their sweet fucking time. Bitcoin dropped, Ethereum dropped, everything dropped. I was like, "Well, fuck. You guys took your sweet time. I mean, there's no point in rushing this anymore." And now they're like mad at me or something. And last night, I just got one email saying like whatever bullshit about policy, and they sent me their policy about what I signed for, and like they may put limits, they may do this if there's suspected laundering, they may do this, they may freeze it if there's a court order. I'm like, yeah, and I respond back. I'm like, the key word here is may. You have a $25,000 transfer limit. That is not a may. You have that limit in place. There is nothing in your policy saying this. I did not know this when I created the account, and you have not been transparent. Just completely ignored that point.
Yeah. Yeah, there
And
does seem
so,
like the whole financial institution like has these, yeah, there's so many invisible limits where you hit some level and it just becomes impossible to do anything with money, and everyone's always like trying to stop you from using your own money, which of course we is all digital, and like some end bank entity has our money, they have to, and then there's like extra restrictions on our own money just because they can, I guess, and there's no alternative. But then crypto is like an alternative, and it's annoying that like we're not really yet benefiting from just the ability to have more control over our own stuff, which what like crypto could promise.
which is why now I need to resort to plan B, which is move my crypto over a span of several weeks and never buy on a platform that has limitations like that again. Or if they do, be prepared for the long haul, or make sure it's a platform that I can do swaps on.
Yeah, I don't know what people do, like, because a lot of people have like, people must have like so much money. I don't know how, like, people that are moving large amounts of money, how do they avoid these limits? Like, even, yeah, like I encounter these limits all the time that are like like super low limits, and I'm just like lucky that the amount that I'm moving is under the limit, or like within, like, I'll move it in three amounts or something. But if I had, like add a zero to everything, I'm sure many people are in that situation where they have like an extra zero on all their transactions. They can't do anything apparently, unless there's like special rules unlocked, I assume, for rich people.
I don't know. They were willing to make an exception for my case, and then that must have pissed them off because I was upset. I'm like, you guys are holding my assets hostage. My assets. I want to control them. And then they turn around last night and they're like, oh, well, some transaction in June 2023, some unknown wallet sent you over $1,000 in Bitcoin. And that wallet was linked to a scam. And for this reason, we are no longer able to grant you a waiver or remove the limitation on your transfer.
Huh.
So now, like, we're forcing you to move it in increments of 25,000.
Weird.
I can't tell you. I'm beyond frustrated. I'm beyond vexed. I'd burn the fucking place down if I could after that shit. Like that's how like I'm beyond angry. Like I'm fucking murderous intent right now. The fact that they would turn around and block me from being able to take control of my assets with some bullshit reason, and I was like, it's not my wallet. I'm on X. There are people who are very generous on X who ask for your deposit address, which is no way linked or gonna ever get your seed phrase because they want to deposit you money. Some people have fucking hundreds of millions of dollars and they want to reward their followers or they do like contests. And I'm like, yeah, when I got the coin, I probably was putting it out there, like the address. Why not? People have their address and like, hey, accepting donations. And they have
Yeah.
their deposit address public. And if some fucking pig slaughterer or criminal wants to send me $1,000 in Bitcoin, who fucking cares? It's not their goddamn business.
That's interesting. Yeah, that definitely is like a new feature of like the crypto economy, is randomly sending people money without, in a sort of an anonymous way. And yeah, it makes sense that the old financial system would not like have any means to handle that at all. They just do it in this like old archaic way.
I heard from this girl I'm following. She's 20, turned 21, Zest or something. I forget her name. She runs like this daily and TA of the different cryptos, starting with Bitcoin, obviously. And when I was listening to her one time, she's like, make sure you take control of your asset. Sorry. She's like, don't leave it on a platform they'll freeze you from being able to withdraw if there's too many withdrawals. You're like, it's controlling the market. It's not a free market. And they got this fucking 21-year-old that's aware of this shit when half of us have our head in the sand doing our 9 to 5, not aware of anything to do with investments. And yet this 21-year-old's like, take control. And I started to pivot towards doing that because the more people I talk to, the more like, yeah, take control. Now it's like, yeah, you have to take control. Don't let someone have the key to your asset. And the thing too is like if someone decides to copy, as you talked about before, Bitcoin and turn it into a new coin, they're going to get
Right.
the extra coin, not you. And if BlackRock gets enough of the coins, has enough influence, they might decide to create their own Bitcoin. It might split the chain and be like, hey, this is now like the BlackRock Bitcoin. This is what we're going to now put all our money into. And so that
Yeah.
they have control. And then that way they can print more and do whatever the fuck they want to the code and pull away from Bitcoin. Once they have enough of the finger in the pot where they can control the pot, that's something that they can do. And so
Yeah, I
what does that
think
mean what does it mean for the real Bitcoin? If all the money then moves from the real Bitcoin to this new Bitcoin created by BlackRock, if all the fucking capital is in there, who knows? I don't know. I think it's going to significantly lower the value of Bitcoin.
yeah.
But here's the thing: is that Wealthsimple could then turn around and tell me which Bitcoin I have. Do I have the original Bitcoin or do I have the BlackRock Bitcoin? They could turn around and say, "Oh, you now have the BlackRock Bitcoin that we can fully control, and that can be printed unlimited." Which isn't what I signed up for. But they have all the power. They have all the control over my asset. It's wrong. It's not their fucking money. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, it all makes sense. Like something might rub up against the law. Like if they tried to swap like one asset, like a true Bitcoin for like a different asset, like maybe they could make the argument that like they've forked Bitcoin so it is like an equivalent thing and has an equivalent value. But then yeah, like the value would change based on their like tweaking it around after the words. So it wouldn't be like a fair trade, but maybe it would like be legally temporarily allowed or something. But yeah, the one thing that's difficult is like if you do have like control over your own assets, it basically means like uh storing your own like private key. And then you sort of run into the opposite problems where like if you lose your private key or you store it somewhere where someone else gets it, then like people will just like steal all your crypto and then you can't and then there's no recourse because there's no you're not like you didn't go through some institution where you'll get like compensated for the loss. It's just like someone stole like direct from you basically and so that's like the trade-off is like there's all these limitations and annoying things on the platforms but at least like if the money's directly stolen maybe someone compensates you or something or you can make a claim insurance claim or something but
Fuck no.
yeah if
Yeah,
there's
like
yeah
because of all my,
yeah
they'd be like, "Oh, we can't be held liable for hacking or whatever." Like, they'll pull some shit like that. Guaranteed, they'll pull some shit.
yeah probably
We're not responsible for what happens on our platform. Fuck you. Like, it's what I like about it is you could make it disappear. You could put it into a wallet, cold wallet, and it could just be away from the system until you want to bring it back. And that way, if you need to hide it, someone's coming after your estate, your digital gold is yours. They can't come and take it from you. They might try to fucking take it from you by raiding your house, but you could put it into a secure lockup. I
yeah
don't know. I'm
people
not trying to
say
tell people.
some kind of like yeah people are worried about like fire and stuff too they say like get a fireproof safe have like a backup in another physical location because even yeah like if your house burns down and you lose a private key it's the same thing as just like it's not
Having
retrievable
everything. Yeah.
yeah
So maybe have more than one
yeah
copy
more
of the
than
key
one
on.
I guess they
But
sell
that
fireproof safes. I think that's a thing.
they do. But then the safe becomes a target, whatever in
Yeah.
the safe.
Or you
But
forget
yeah,
the
yeah,
code
yeah.
and it's locked.
So this is what I would do. I would have the seed phrase put into the thing so that I can access a wallet virtually, blah, blah, blah. I would also get a really, really small tattoo of it along my forearm or whatever, like the inside, especially if I'm going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in that. But whatever I give to the tattoo artist to do, it's going to be like an
It's
encrypted
leaked.
version.
Oh, an
No, it's
encrypted
going to be
version.
an encrypted version of it
Yeah.
where I know the key where it's like +1 everything or something a bit more complicated where they'll never figure it out unless they have the key. That's simple in my mind, but like a way to decrypt the fucking seed phrase tattooed on my forearm. It's like a failsafe, right? And the only way someone's going to be able to take that from me is if they rip off my fucking arm or like peel my skin, like,
I don't
and,
know
and
that
someone's not
that
going to,
I wouldn't recommend the tattoo. I think like people if people get a photo of that tattoo, I think like they can crack encryption like very quickly unless the encryption is like the same strength that you'd have on a computer, in which case like you wouldn't be able to like remember the passphrase for the encryption. I feel like people would like brute force it like super quickly if they had like a photo of the tattoo, and
or
that'd be
I
hard to
can
leak
leave
or not leak.
certain characters missing. I'm thinking
Yeah, I
about a
guess.
fail
Yeah,
safe that I have on me, right? Like this is like I could figure this out. I can think about it. I'm aware of brute force, but I'm not gonna be taking pictures of this fucking thing. But then I
yeah.
guess there's the vulnerability is the tattoo artist.
I guess actually people have like you can embed like a little tiny chip in your skin, just like a thin piece of plastic that's like totally flexible, and then you can kind of encode what you want on that. You can like store data on it, but then it's people could maybe still like swipe a scanner over you and steal it.
Hmm.
But at least then you could sort of have like an embedded thing in you where you can retrieve the thing, and also you sort of store it, like you just have the invite device installed and then you yourself like store the code on it so that no one else is part of the loop or whatever. You don't think
Interesting.
like just paper, like a little paper that's folded like in your wallet or something?
That's a bad idea.
Like you think
Jesus.
you'll lose your wallet or something like that?
Yeah, what happens if
Like
it falls
people,
out,
yeah.
man? If it falls out, someone realizes what it is, it's gone. No, no, it needs to be something. It's a fail safe. It has to not be convenient. It needs to be something that only I can figure out. So I don't know, like if they can put infinite attempts, but if they're missing like all the characters, how are they? What happens if I had a different? This is what I will do. I'll have a different encryption for each segment of it. They could try to brute force this. It's not going to happen. It's going to be like shooting in the fucking dark and trying to just access anybody's um, seed phrase at this point in time. And the computation of power required to figure out something that big, I don't know. I don't. Might as well be trying to hack every other wallet out there at this point.
But
Does that
whatever,
make
like if
sense?
but you're talking about like a code that is shorter than the private key that you use to encrypt the private key. But then if
So let's say
yeah, like is that
hypothetically,
but you're thinking about
but
like keeping that code in your mind basically? Like it's short enough to like remember?
so how big is it 256 characters or 25 characters? Do you know how long the seed phrase is? I don't know.
Oh, a seed phrase, yeah. Maybe like
It's
25 character words or something.
Yeah, I'll have to double check. I need to get back into the books with this stuff. Obviously, I gotta take it seriously and YouTube myself to death. I mean, if it's 256 characters, it's gonna be an interesting tattoo. I mean, it's gonna be wrapping around my wrist or something cool like that. I think that'd be neat.
I would research that a bit though. I feel like it stands out to me as like something that people would like have considered or someone's done it. Like there's probably like an article somewhere that someone did it and they got photographed or something and
Maybe, but
a
you're
way to
gonna
do something
photograph
like
the
it.
top of my wrist. You're not. What about the bottom, right? I think it's 25 characters. Choose 256 characters. No, because you got 0 to 9, and you got 26 alphabet characters. Yeah, am I fucking that up? It's 26.
Yeah.
Are there other symbols that could be used? Because that's 10. 0 to 9 plus 26 is 36. You have 36 characters. Like, are there hyphens? Are there other asterisks?
I think it's
So
base
all
it's like a base 64. So there's maybe 64-ish different symbols per character.
Yeah. Well, anyway, still a crazy number of iterations required to brute force that. The whole idea of it is to be so complicated that you can't brute force it unless you have computational power of one of the big miners, like in China. And then if you do have that, why would you compromise Bitcoin if all your profit comes from it? So I don't know. I'm gonna dig more into it, but there has to be a way so that if your fucking cold wallet gets damaged or lost, or whatever, you're not totally fucked. More damage. If it's lost, then you got to do something about that. But like change it before it's compromised. But there has some way that we can keep it like put segments on different parts of our body or something. I could, if you had $500 million of Bitcoin, well, I imagine you would want to split it up between multiple wallets. You wouldn't want to keep it all in one place. You want to just spread it, right? Spread risk.
Yeah. Yeah, they do recommend like don't keep it all in one wallet. That is one thing. Have several wallets.
Because my plan was to have one for Bitcoin, one for the other ones. Because Bitcoin to me is the one that can't be controlled by the government. The other ones can all be shut down. Anyway, all neat stuff. I have to do the work. I'm I'm actually, I wouldn't say inspired, but I'm definitely motivated after the fact that everything I have is, it's like half my assets are frozen. I can't do anything with them.
Mm.
It's so controlled that like, oh, someone sent me a deposit that was linked to a scam and now they're gonna freeze everything. It's fucking ridiculous, man. If I want to receive Bitcoin from strangers, it's none of their goddamn business. And that's the thing, they made it their business. I even explained myself. I was like, I shouldn't have to explain to you what I'm doing with my money, my assets. However, given your suspicion, here's what's up. Oh, that's wrong. Our fucking money should be in our control. And so, yeah, I guess I'm kind of like anti-government, anti-interference. So you worked hard for this. Like, this is my generational wealth, not theirs.
Yeah, it's like if government services were good or like if these private companies that manage finances, if they were like fast about it. But there's so many things that are like ingrained in the financial system that are just like inherently slow. Like everything takes like 24 hours to like settle, and the money's like disappears between showing up in different accounts. That yeah, it feels like there like that's what I always just feel is like a layer of crypto under the that modernizes like the current financial system would just make it more like it would bring money into like the age of the internet where like we do expect to just be able to like move money around and have it appear quickly and not be like this very slow moving thing.
Yeah, apparently you can do microtransactions now with Bitcoin, and it happens instantaneously. And before it was
Oh yeah.
like it would take I don't know 30 minutes or something, or 5 to 30 minutes depending on the
Right.
amount. But now it's instantaneous. Like they have it so that it's quicker.
I guess I've heard of one thing though that is there's like a difference between like just a typical savings account and like a brokerage account or something where most sites they offer like both. Like they offer you the account where you just like put money and don't do anything with it. And then there's like the day trader sort of like account or whatever they call it, where like usually they charge you like an extra fee to have these like brokerage accounts where you can actually like get like a temporary loan like built into the account. And trading is supposed to be like fast and prices are like real time. And then they usually these brokerage accounts like they're designed for like trading per second, and then the other accounts are just like everything takes 20, like buying a thing takes 24 hours or whatever, and they make some kind of distinction between the two.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm a little bit lost there. Oh,
Yeah, I saw it on. I was using a platform called Quest Trade, like in Canada, and I had different accounts. Like I had uh, like the TFSA was like a tax protected account, and there was like on their website they're like, oh yeah, this account like you can put money in it, you can invest the money, but you're not allowed to have like a negative balance like in your TFSA account basically. But then they had like this other type of account that was like you can have a negative balance and they'll loan you the money at a certain interest rate if your account goes negative. Uh, and that's like basically you if you want like they sort of just they do that so that you can like buy stock instantly using like their money and then like repay them with your money in the account like over the next day or something so that it's like that everything can be fast. But that was definitely like for people who are doing it as like a job, like they needed access to like faster trading or something. But then yeah, but yeah, it did seem like all the other accounts like they were like, oh, here's your retirement savings, like your tax-free savings account. And there was like it was clearly like these accounts are not intended to like trade on any fast like time scale. Like they were very like you couldn't even see like your current balance. It took like a day to update like just what stock you had and stuff like that. It was just like intended for like one purchase, maybe a month or something.
Jesus. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
I only wanted to do I just want to put like money in and then wait on it. I've never wanted to like trade like within a certain day, like I never wanted to like day trade basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm down
Yeah, it seems
15K right now because of it.
right. Yeah, people were saying that like a very hard thing to verify when you're day trading is whether or not they called it like trading against the exchange that you're on. And the example they gave was like when you submit like buy and sell orders to like the exchange that your account is on, that exchange like knows about those buy and sell orders before they like act on them. And so the exchange can buy stock like ahead of you knowing that like your buy and sell orders will cause the price to fluctuate so they can buy or sell stock like right in front of your orders to like adjust the price and then like sort of like trim a little bit of the profit like off of your orders. And that's sort of like especially if an exchange has no like monthly fee, uh then it's likely that the way they're making profit is by like whatever it's called, like padding, their own buy and sell orders in front of yours or in front of the customers. Like there's an app called Robinhood in the States that I'm on, and that's apparently how they make money. They like sell, like everybody's buying and selling on Robinhood. They sell the data to like Wall Street, and then Wall Street like makes smarter trades, knowing that a bunch of customers on Robinhood are about to buy stuff or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm on mute. Yeah, so that's interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, like because a lot of like I mean banks in general, their whole thing is like you put your money in a bank and then they're immediately like investing your money to make profit for themselves, and then like the main way I guess banks make money is by using like our money to invest, and then sometimes like we'll get a percentage of that in different accounts. But yeah, then exchanges, yeah, like the whole stock market exchange system seems like it's hard to get to a position where you can like truly interact directly with the market. Like there's always some layer that's like there's some like layer that's slowing your trades down or putting their own trades in front or something. And that doesn't really have like a huge effect. Like they're only doing it for like a fraction of a percent or something at most. But it so I don't know if it really matters overall. It just seemed someone was mentioning like that's some kind of thing where part of your profit is getting like eaten away by the speed of, because I guess no matter what you do, like the supercomputers that are like right next to the exchange can always beat you anyway, but that wouldn't make that much difference.
Interesting stuff. Well, I always buy limit and I buy what I want to buy at the amount that I want to buy. So by doing the limit market, I don't trust the market buy because I
Well, yeah,
guess in
yeah,
that
market is very random. Yeah,
because then I think that's where the padding can happen. Like if I think a stock is worth a certain amount, I'm gonna put in what I think it's worth and wait till it drops to that point, or I don't buy it.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm not. I was doing really, really well. I was up 8K plus, and I was spread properly. It was with some of the big seven, like doing really well. And then as soon as I started paying it, I got a little greedy. And I made a really good call. And the call was Coinbase, knowing what's going to happen with everything. And I bought into Coinbase. I pulled everything. I went into Coinbase, and maybe a couple other small ones I had. So it was a little bit spread. And then Coinbase, for some reason, dropped. Now, I don't recall if it was because of an earnings report or something, but it dropped from 80, which is why I purchased it, 180 American down to 160 something. I put a fucking stop limit in because that's apparently good practice. But then now I'm told that there's algorithms out there that detect stop limits,
Oh yeah.
and then that they deliberately drop the price by selling in order to lower the stock value to have everybody's stop loss is activated to drop it further to then rebuy immediately more stock at the lower price to drive the price back up immediately. Well, that fucking happened to me. So I tried to be logical with a stop loss, got fucked. It was too soon for me to put in a stop loss. But I should always have a stop loss in. Like this is where now my mind is sort of like spread where it's like, what do I do? Because I could buy and then all of a sudden some news comes out of the woodwork and then it plummets 40%, which is exactly what fucking happened with Mara or Marathon and Riot right after the ETF approval for Bitcoin. If I had a stop loss in place, probably wouldn't have lost all my money for all that time. Now, I never sold because I knew it would come back. But Coinbase sold and I couldn't get back in without taking a loss. I was just like, fuck it. I don't. I went for what I thought was going to be a good deal, which was Marathon, and Marathon was spiking, and I got in, and I was doing really well. I gained like 10%, almost make my money back. Then I started doing like these fucking small little minute by minute day trades, making $100, $200 each time. Boom, 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 boom. Racked up $1,000. Well, 1,200, 1,400. And well, simple is too fucking slow.
Yeah.
And then one time it didn't detect the right amount of funds. This was just a glitch or an error. And I went to go buy when it was low. It didn't take. And then it started to shoot up. And I was like, well, fuck. Now it's going to just blow up now because Bitcoin was going through the fucking roof at this point in time. And so I panic bought at the peak, right near the peak, thinking that it's going to keep going up and I'm going to sell. I just want to get that 10-cent gain. I'm going to sell again, wait for it to drop in case it drops. I just don't want to miss out. Fucking plummeted right from the peak to like less than half over the span of 2 weeks. I put everything I had American wise in that, fucking around doing like, getting some lunch money, just fucking around, but I was waiting for my car to be serviced. And now I'm holding on to the bag, man. You know what did it? It was the hype because the fucking CEO said, "Oh, this earning report is going to be great. We have some good surprises for you." Well, earnings reports always come after the market closes, and they failed to meet their mark. So I don't know how that's good news, but yeah, in the after hours market, guess what decided to go down? The marathon stock. And then they continued to go down and down and down and down and down, even though Bitcoin was going up. Bitcoin was going up and up and up and up. It doesn't make any sense. Normally, there's a correlation between Bitcoin and Marathon and Riot and other mining companies, and yet Marathon continued to go down. So absolutely no fucking logic here at all. None.
Yeah, it seems it's frustratingly random. I now, yeah, I assume the stock market is totally random, and hopefully it's like the main stocks go up over the long term. That's all I know. Then everything else is totally random. It
How
feels
I
very
see
similar
it,
to like gambling, right? Like
yeah.
just betting
Unless,
on like,
un-
yeah.
unless you're in a stock for the long term because you really believe in its future, which is what we should be investing in. We're investing in future earnings. If you're doing day trading, pull the fuck out before the earnings report. If there's hype, ride the hype, pull out a whole solid day before.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, it was mid-afternoon, and that's when it started to drop before closing. It just started to fucking go down. And they continue to go down after the earnings report. So I would pull out a whole fucking day before just to be safe. Even if it's good news, apparently 90% of the time it's not good news. And even with good news, it still can drop.
I would think so, yeah,
So
because like the earnings report is like what happened the previous year. So if they're
quarter.
announcing that like they or like yeah, so they did well the previous quarter, then it's like okay, this is the peak, like the better they did this quarter, the more it's likely they'll do worse like the next quarter. So like there's like some kind of
Maybe.
balance point. Like I would assume like there's like a point where the stock like wouldn't change. Like if they did bad, then it's like time to buy because they're gonna do better. If they did average, then there's no change. And if they did good, then it's like it should plummet because next earnings report is gonna be likely worse or something. It seems like
Hmm.
there's no good outcome once they've announced like their earnings. It's just like ride the hype, and that's pretty much it. There's it's not like they're gonna reveal like some few because in the earnings report they don't really. I don't think they talk about like what's coming in the future, right? Like they're not on the earnings phone call saying like, and next month we're about to sign like a huge contract. That's not really the call for that. But that would be the kind of stuff that would raise the price. I would think like future stuff. But if they're just talking about past data, it's weird that people would be like
Yeah, but
betting on that.
yeah, but like if they're saying it's going to be good news, I think the CEO should be fucking sued for all the losses because he created the hype with misinformation. And they fucking benefited from the hype because they all own stocks of their own company and they probably all sold just before the earnings report. They are the ones that are probably responsible for the dip before the earnings report because they knew the earnings report was going to be shit and they created a hype train. They should be held fucking liable for it. The CEO should be held liable for that shit.
Yeah, I've heard that. like if you're the CEO, I think you have to like schedule stock sales like in advance. But even if you've done that, like let's say you have to schedule like a big stock sell a year in advance, like I guess you could schedule it whenever you want. And then like if you know that like if your stock is scheduled to sell, you would just cause hype like the day before. So I feel like
Or you can't,
yeah,
or as a CEO, you can't sell your stock until you step down as CEO.
that would be good, yeah.
Here's that as one because they have all the ability to manipulate their stock as they see fit. They can do a great job and they can deliberately do a bad job and then come turn around and do if they don't get shit canned. I mean, like they got all the control of the company. Should they be able to sell the stock and influence the stock prices? I don't know. I'm interested what the debate is on that. But this guy deliberately created a fucking hype train on no grounds. He didn't have good news to deliver overall. I mean, they had some great returns, but they failed to meet their mark. Of course, it's going to lead to a collapse. But the fact that they pulled out before, that the price started dropping before him, and that is really suspicious to me. And I could look at the inside trading that has happened within the company. And I probably am going to see a bunch of people selling at the peak.
Is that
And
how do we
this is the
get
shit
that
that,
data? Like this, can we see like? Oh yeah, I
yeah,
guess we can
yeah,
just
like,
see
yeah,
like the number of sell orders, but not like who did it or something.
you can see the CEO position, all that stuff. It's you can see who's on the
Oh,
inside
you can
doing
see that.
what. It's
Okay.
all tracked. Yeah, I think I see it on Yahoo. I don't know who uses Yahoo, but I mean, when I Google stuff, before I buy a stock, take a look at what the TA is. I take a look at what the analysis have to say, and I take that with a grain of salt. They're telling me that Marathon's going to go up to $50 American by the end of the year, and it's going to jump to like I don't know 80 or 90 by next year. We'll see. Right? No one knows the future. No one knows the future. Everybody's just placing bets. And this is the key takeaway. The one thing I can guarantee is fucking hype trains will go off the rails and fall off the bridge. It always happens. It's just a matter of being able to time getting off of it and doing so logically where you're not motivated by greed. You have to be able to get off the train well before it's about to crash. And you might learn out and lose out on some potential earnings, but it's so much better than crashing and then having to hold on to depleting a failing fucking stock while there's opportunities elsewhere that are constantly going up, but you're going down with the train sinking to the bottom of the fucking ocean, waiting for it
That's
to
the tough part, though.
eventually,
Right? That's
yeah,
the
eventually.
hard part is like having being like a perfect sort of like logical mind the whole time you're trading. Like eventually, like I feel like people will just trade kind of until they lose almost. Like the better you do, the more you'll just kind of be in this thing, and then eventually, uh, through no fault of one's own, stuff will go down, and it just feels like there's no like a human be like a sort of an organic human being is not like the right tool for like staying not emotionally involved in or like attached to the market or something.
Solution is get an algorithm that can read the candles, which is based off of statistics, right? All these different computations, permutations. Statistics is basically the result of human behavior or whatever. Like at least in the stock market, we know it's 90% psychology. Statistics show because you have a large enough population over a large enough period of time, they actually work. Not going to work 100% of the time, damn well near it. So let the fucking computers do all the transactions. People have these things. Like, yeah, I can't trigger stop losses. I don't have that kind of capital. However, if I put 10,000 to each of the companies I'm interested in, I think have potential, then I let the fucking algorithm do all the day trading for me based off of the candles and what's going on.
But
And then I
does
ask
that
for it to
kind of
take
thing
a
exist? Does that algorithm exist or
yes.
no? Oh, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah. There's a
What
company
is that?
called POW. Like they employ algorithms and they'll give you like 100,000 of someone else's money to use the algorithms to make money for these rich people. Like there are companies that have these algorithms that actually do the work and stuff. And I guess this is how the fucking rich people are continuing to grow their money, that they're employing these things. There's a guy with a company of like 200 people plus, I think. Wham is what it's called. He's on Facebook, has a group of 100 people, which is interesting because you think for a wealth manager that has 200 people employed that he would have more clients, at least on Facebook. But it seems like everything he's reporting is legit. Like I'm looking at the candles and the lessons that he's teaching and stuff, and it's all good stuff. Within part of me is like he has 150 fake Facebook profiles to make his company look legit, because even if you get someone to trust you enough to give you 10K, that's worth all the time it took to create 150 profiles, and then all of them have some sort of like, to create something fake like that and to keep it going. If you just bring in like 10 people, 10K each, you just made 100,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm skeptical. I mean, it could be one hell of an elaborate scheme, but who knows? I
I was
just
thinking it'd be cool. I had a random idea that, like,
mm,
imagine you just get fed like a series of news articles that are related to like the stocks you're following, and you just assign like a score to each of the news articles, saying like whether it's like if it's good or bad news and how good or how bad, and then some other algorithm just uses what you've looked at all the news, you've weighted the news, and then the algorithm just like invests your money like without your knowledge based on what you've told it about like your speculation about these companies based on the news you read. And that would be like a like you'd intake the news. Maybe there could be like a team of humans. Like it's just like the news comes in a pipeline, the humans like evaluate the news, and then the algorithm gets told like what companies to prefer or stay away from based on that, like the ranking of the news items.
mhm.
Because then day trading would just
That
be
could be
like
like a general.
reading the news and signing values.
That could be a general start. Yeah, the news definitely is something that's going to have to be filtered through and considered, because yeah, you could be into oil and it could be booming, and all of a sudden, rather, something happens in the Middle East or there's another conflict or war, and you gotta be able to have access to that news to be able to make split-second decisions. Because if you know that there's going to be like a surplus of oil in the East, well, fucking pull your money out, because surplus means no scarcity and prices are going to drop.
Yeah.
So, or the reverse could be true. Anyway, yeah, I think there's merit to that too. So wealth in this day and age is having cutting edge information. There's too much information coming in at all times because there's 7, 8 billion of us, 8 billion now, I think. There's a lot of people and it's creating a lot of waves, right? So it's like, you know, there's like under 200 countries, but each one of those countries could do tons of things, and we're all kind of interconnected, global market and all that shit. So it's like it's a lot of different variables to have to consider on a lot of different markets. So totally, yeah, if a computer can go through it all, then great, but I don't even know how to begin programming something like that.
Yeah.
Because like
But whatever the
all the
program is, it's like,
scenarios.
yeah, it's like trying to predict like predicting human behavior is like this hard problem, because if the humans know what behavior you're predicting for them, they'll change their behavior, and it just keeps going.
If we had an AI that could, it probably already exists. This,
It already exists.
it probably already exists. Yeah, if you feed it enough information, I think it could. It's just if it's connected to the internet or not. I don't know which AI is. But if I don't want to get buried, I need to. The way to stay relevant is to stay educated, not just consume. No, you also need to produce, and the best way of learning is to teach others. So you educate yourself. You then
Make
figure
some
out.
YouTube videos.
Yeah, I don't want to do that,
You
but
don't feel like
teach others what it is that you've learned, and that way you're solidifying your knowledge and you're actually giving back, and you're going to stay relevant that way. I find that the people that get the most followings are the ones that have been around, that educate others, that entertain, that offer value to other people. And it's not an instantaneous thing. It's what I have to keep in mind is that it's built over time. But yeah, some people achieve great wealth and fame, like Mr. Beast, or the actors or actresses that are out there, or the in-betweens who, I don't know, don't identify with anything. But it's like all these people, they're public and they offer some sort of value, some entertainment value. And so they're producing, entertaining the masses or educating the masses. And because they're visible and they create reactions, or well, I don't know what X calls it. It's like if you meet a certain requirement, positive interactions with people, then you can be considered for ads. So it's like if you have a
yeah.
following of 500 people, or if you reach or have 9 million something, like it was a crazy number, then you'd be considered for within a span of 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or 6 months or something. Then you can be considered for ads. Like you have to. So it takes time to build to a point where you can monetize it. It's work. It all depends on what it is that you're offering and if you're really putting it out there.
That'd
My
be nice
gift
if there
is
was like a
piano.
threshold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
there
like
needs to
per
be,
like
right?
you
They're
get a
not going
few
to
cents
waste,
per like or something.
I guess, but they don't want to waste their time on I guess creating accounts or
Yeah,
deal
there's
with
some
people that
cost
aren't
to
really at.
sending out checks or something.
Yeah.
Are you doing
So
something
yeah,
with
like,
piano these days?
well, I just got it tuned, and my friend lent me his super expensive recording gear. I mean, what he's been doing is he's
Oh,
been
neat.
like spending the last over 10 years plus 20 years building. So he's made it so simple that like it's sophisticated to the point where it's it's simple, which is what a master does. So he's become a master recorder, and it's the simplest setup that he can bring anywhere. And he set it up in my basement. It took him 2 seconds, and he showed me how to use it. And it's the best recording mics and sound that you can get. And so I turn this thing on and I start slamming away keys, and we'll see what happens. The editing is this different thing that he does, and so it's interesting that we cross paths. Because like me recording with my phone, even if it's an iPhone 15 Pro Max, it's not going to come anywhere close to this guy's level of skill and tech.
Yeah.
So am I
Do you
really
have
doing with something
anything
with it?
in your basement? Do you have like sound padding or anything?
No, no, I don't.
Is it like what are the walls like sort of stone or something like that? They're like things that would reflect sound, or are there like like anything hanging that would like absorb the sound?
There's stuff hanging that would absorb the sound,
Yeah, that
but
sounds like
not like
decent then. Yeah. I guess you just don't want like an echo at all.
there's no echo. Yeah, it's small enough
Yeah.
where the loudness
Oh,
is
there's not. Yeah.
it's it's actually kind of ideal. There's no reverb really, but it's a good sound. The only thing bad about the sound when I record is like this white noise that just comes because of poor quality mic in the phone. Like I was using an iPhone 8 that's old as fuck that has a case on it. And then I tried using my 12, better quality, and the 15 Pro Max. Well, I'll have to listen to it because I recorded both the 15 Pro with the 15 Pro Max and his tech. So I'm going to do a side by side comparison to see which one's better.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it's in the works. The trick is you do something because you enjoy it, not to get good at it. It's by doing it and doing it often, if not daily, that you get good at it. It's just how you approach it. If you just try to be good at something, you're gonna lose the desire to do it. It's fucking what is that called? A paradox? It's so interesting on how that
Paradox.
works. Because I did try to get good at piano and I fucking hated it. And then when
Mm.
I just for fun, people are like, "You're gifted." I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not really trying." It's like I listen to others and I envy them and I try to emulate them, and then that's what leads to issues. What I should do is I should just learn new tricks by listening to piano and apply them if I want to, and not take it too seriously. I guess we want to leave a mark. We don't want to not be relevant. I guess it's in our programming to contribute, and I do think my piano is how I can contribute. It's just really buckling down to still enjoy it, but flicking a switch so that it gets recorded. And it could just be raw pieces with no, that's not structured. When I play without trying to have structure, I make a masterpiece. And when I try to like play a song a certain way, that's like cookie
Yeah.
cutter or rehearsed, or it's the same thing every time, then it's messed up. I make mistakes and I can tell I make mistakes. It's when I just like don't care and I float. That's when I make great music. And I think I need to honor what works for me and my flow state.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, which
Yeah, I
is my
feel
flow, which is the music of.
from I can relate to that with for me it's like programming, like the stuff you were saying. Like I feel like I'm not that great at programming for work, but if I just like write code in my spare time, usually I come up with something pretty cool. And then I feel like I make a lot of cool stuff just messing around with code. But then, yeah, anytime I try to like replicate someone else that I see or look up to, or I try to write code in a certain way, it falls apart. But the side projects that I do for like passion, I feel like they are pretty cool, and that seems similar to what you're experiencing with piano.
Yeah, I think it's easier to create than it is to emulate. I
Yeah.
should probably quote that because it is easier to create than
Uh,
emulate. Like Beethoven stuff is good. I personally would never make something like that. You can play it and it could be hard and it sounds cool. But my shit's pretty good. I mean, if I were to do side by side with him, I mean, some of his music doesn't even sound that great. It's just complicated. And he's just flexing his finger skills,
right.
I find. And he's been a composer for a long time and is really good and actually legendary, according to others. But he had a particular style. I don't think he was copying someone else. He was just doing his own thing that worked for that time period.
Yeah.
And it's not by copying others and emulating others that you're going to become your own legend. Like it's like doing covers of other people might get you originally noticed. I'm against it though. I don't want to play other people's music. I want to play my own stuff and be like, oh my God, where did this come from? And it's not linked to anybody else. They hear it and they're like, holy shit, who fucking made this? To the
Oh.
point where they're trying to hunt me down, trying to figure out who. They use
Yeah.
Shazam and they're like, it comes up on Spotify as it's Justin Leck only. There's no confusing it with anybody else. And
Yeah.
that's what I want, where it's like I, I create that reaction in people where it's like, fuck, this is good piano. I would like to be I would like to compose orchestra pieces. That is the stuff that I fucking love. Do
Like
strings and
all the
bass and
instruments.
all of it.
That would be
Oh my god,
that's
I
hard
would
though,
have
right?
so
Like
much fun doing it.
familiarity. Have you done something like that? Like how
I
would
would
you
have so much
know
fun
like
doing it.
about all those other instruments? Like how did you ever
I
have you
listened
learned
to
like some
enough
of those
orchestra
instruments?
pieces.
Oh yeah.
I've just listened to enough pieces. And it depends on, like, I find that strings in general go really well with piano, and you could throw in some percussion as well. But it's like hearing a song in your head, and then you have your melody and your bass with the piano, and then kind of just build off of it, harmonize it, add to it, phase the piano in and out, but add the other instruments in. Like you can create a whole song with just piano, and it sound incredible. And you get
Uh,
different
what
layers
uh,
too.
what notation do you use? Do you write the notes on like a staff?
No, I wish I had some
If
tech that would do that
Yeah,
for
what do you
me.
mean then? Like if you did want to write like an orchestral piece, how would you write that down? Like what would be your idea
It,
for that?
I'm gonna need some tech that would take the piano. So I'd make
Yeah.
the whole orchestra piece
Oh yeah, you
using a
play it out.
keyboard,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
do the piano bass for what the song is in my head, and then I add in the different parts as I do it. So I'd probably start with piano. It would have violin, cello, and then I could look at the percussion. For me, I think the percussion would be the last thing I add in, and then choir as well. So if I want to do vocals, I'd have to decide that, I suppose, near the beginning and replace some of the melody in the piano with. There's probably a way to do it, and I could just look up like what the best practices. But really, composing music, I think it just comes down to the person. I listen to some orchestra pieces that aren't that great, that are pretty just they're just mundane. They're just different instruments playing proper notes that sound good, like they're all in tune, but no heart, no feeling. It's about creating something that all flows together that triggers an emotional response. And I think the best composers are the ones that have insight. And insight comes from experience. And if you have painful experiences, you have more insight. And I think if you have that, you have that emotion, and you try to tell a story based off your insight and your experience that just flows through you, that's going to evoke emotions in others. People, when they hear my stuff, they can hear the emotion, they can hear the feeling. And when I play certain pieces, yeah, sometimes I cry as I play my piece. I'm creating it on the spot, and it's flowing from me, and I'm crying as I'm playing it, and I don't even know what notes I'm hitting. It just flows through me. And then the next thing you know, I create this incredible, beautifully, this this masterpiece without even trying. And then other times I play it great, and then I just want to keep building on it. So, like Boundless, for instance, is one of my favorite, all-time favorite songs because it just keeps growing and keeps getting better and better.
Oh yeah. That's
Anyway,
fitting
man,
for the name that it's called
Boundless, yeah,
Boundless and it keeps going. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. This thing can just go on for. I, I have so many different parts to it now. I've Boundless. I think will be my masterpiece, my main
Yeah.
piece. It is so powerful. Um, and it's almost like the story of the last several years of my life where I fell in love with um, this lovely girl who didn't reciprocate, to me transitioning out of the military, making massive life changes, to discovering who I am and what I've lost over the years. All of it's in the music. It's crazy. And it's so good, and it's fun to play too. Oh my god, it's so fun.
Yeah.
The way it just flows, and like the way the left hand complements the right hand when I'm doing the chorus, it's just so easy. It's so well, it's easy to me, but it's so good. Well, buddy, I'm gonna to take
Yeah.
off, and I'd love to talk more
Yeah.
about it. Like, it's so important for us to have a purpose or to have an outlet or to do something with our energy besides serving some other entity, corporation,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's so important to be able to build something for ourselves.
Yeah, I really like talking about that. I guess we'll
But
pick up there next time or something.
yeah, let's do that. All right, bye, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Bye.